Hey everyone, this is Jerry with San Pedro Mastery. I thought I would do a little update on the plants I've been growing in small containers. I must admit the plants have been totally abandoned since the last video in this mini-series, apart from opening the transparent film. I have not watered them, not even once. Will they still be alive and well? Let's find out. So, as I've just mentioned, there is only one thing I've done to the plants in the 2 months since the last video in this series was uploaded, and that is to open the containers. I did that because some of the Bridgesii were becoming too high and running into the transparent film. I could have just opened the Bridgesii and let the shorter plants enclose for longer, but to make it more simple, I decided to open them all at the same time. I used the pen to punch 2 holes in each. Then, about 4 or 5 days later, I enlarged the holes with my fingers. And another 4 or 5 days later, I took away the transparent film. Of course, after you've removed the film, you will have to start watering the plants, and you must make holes for drainage. You cannot use a drill with such thin plastic. So instead, I just made some hole in the corner with some scissors. It's not pretty, but it's functional, I guess. As you can see, I only make 2 holes per container. It's more than enough because these containers are so small. Let's start with the hybrid of Trichocereus Atacamensis crossed with Pachanoi. I had no idea how this one would turn out since the 2 species look so different from each other, the Atacamensis being so wide with so many ribs and so many spines. Here, Atacamensis is the mother, and yet it's the father Pachanoi that seems to prevail. The plants are not very wide, they only have 1 or 2 ribs more than a Pachanoi, and they grow as fast as a Pachanoi. They are quite spiny though. I can't wait to see them grow some more. These are the Knuthianus. On the ground you can see a number of casualties. Basically all the smaller plants did not make it. I don't know why that is. It could be the extreme heat at the end of August and the fact I did not water them. I'm not sure. The ones that are left will probably make it. Here we've got some Bridgesii. Some of them are looking red, which is normal for Bridgesii as they are more sensitive to the sun than other species. You will also note that they have problems standing up straight. Bridgesii are kind of prone to that if you handle them a bit roughly, or if you water them with too much force. I also have the same exact strain of Bridgesii growing in a large tray and they are growing up very straight. Maybe because it's a large tray and therefore I cannot move it abruptly. I'm not sure. Another thing you may notice is that some plants are rotting. The Bridgesii are typically a bit harder to grow than the other 2 classics, the Pachanoi and the Peruvianus. It's a more fragile species. If you give it the best conditions, there won't be any casualties. But it's hard to give them the best conditions. For instance, the last month had a lot of rain. Quite a contrast with the previous month. And just like Bridgesii don't tolerate too much sun, they don't tolerate too much humidity for too long either. All that is when they are young seedlings. Afterward, I find them quite hardy. Here another container of Bridgesii. Some of them are so tall the camera can't focus. These are taller than the ones you've seen just before because they were started a month earlier. They are now 6 months old. It's because of those that I decided to open the containers, as they could not fit anymore with a lid on. Some of them are falling over, and those would benefit from being replanted straight, either in the same container or in another pot. Another one is rotting at the base. It should be cut and then replanted a week later after the cut has healed. If you don't cut it, the rot will probably stop at some point and what's left of the plant will make new roots, but the base will look better if you make a clean cut. Here are some 5-month-old Pachanoi, and these are a total failure. They got red at the beginning from too much sun, and that typically stunts the growth for quite a while. I think they were about this size already 3 or 4 months ago. I will move them inside the house under lights for the winter, and hopefully they will recover their green color and start growing. Note that they have been growing extremely slow, but without casualties. Young Pachanois can definitely withstand more difficult conditions than Bridgesii. Next we have some Taquimbalensis that have suffered exactly the same fate. These are also 5 months old, they also turn red due to too much sun exposure, and they are quite tough plants that do not seem to have suffered casualties. Now it's hard to believe, that these are the same exact Taquimbalensis seeds, but only 3 or 4 weeks older. These were not shocked with too much sun when they were younger, and as a result, they have been growing superbly. Keep in mind they would actually be bigger than that if I had watered them. Conditions for the plants in the last 2 months have not been great. The first month, a lot of heat and no rain, and I did not water them either, and the second month, it got colder and rainy. The adult Taquimbalensis look amazing, but I did not expect the baby Taquimbalensis to look so good. I just love how these plants look. I think they are my favorites at the moment. Look at the spines on this one. Absolutely gorgeous plants. If you want to grow these amazing Taquimbalensis seeds, or any other seeds that you can see in this video, remember you can buy them from me. Just email me at sanpedromastery@protonmail.com and you will get information, photos and prices. Lastly, let's take a look at the peyotes and see how they are doing. And they are doing great. They have changed their green color for a much more attractive blue. They seem to be doing great without casualties. Yes, it's rained a lot during the last month, and they've had their roots wet all the time. This would kill an adult peyote, but at this young age they can endure a lot more humidity. Next year will be a different story though, and I will have to watch their water intake. Interestingly enough, one of the plants there seems to have 2 colors. It looks like it's red from the sun, but it's like a sharp line between the 2 colors. Could it be a variegated example, and the yellow appears red due to the sun? I don't know. I'll keep an eye on it to see how it evolves. By the way, if you don't know what a variegated cactus is, it's a plant that has patches of yellow here and there. These are more collectible, like all the plants that are freaks. Here we have another container of peyotes. These are a bit bigger as they are a month older, 6 months instead of 5 months. Near the top you can see a small peyote that germinated much later than the rest. That happens from time to time. For some strange reason, peyote seems to prefer smaller containers rather than really large trays. At least this has been my experience. If you've had a different experience, please share it with us all in the comment section below. That's it for today. This is probably the last episode of this mini-series, but don't worry, there is another grow project coming up very soon for the winter, in which you'll probably see again some of the same small containers, as I'm sure you're curious to see what this plant will look like when they grow up. So stay tuned, as there are more grow videos to come. This year I will experiment with good quality LED lights and see how they compare with fluorescent T5s. Make sure you subscribe not to miss any of that, and don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching my videos, and I'll see you again very soon.